Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, bringing you new album reviews all the damn time. Today we're going to take a look at the second album from this band, released on K-Scope Records. The band is called Envy of None. Stygian Waves is the name of the album. And yes, they are spelling Stygian Waves a little bit differently. Forget about the Stygianwaves, right? It was Stijeenwavz. Kind of spelling it like it kind of sounds. I guess that kind of makes sense. Of course, this is the band notably that features on guitar Alex Lifeson from Rush and Andy Curran on bass and keyboards and things, of course, from Coney Hatch, right? So let's take a look at the K-Scope Digipack here. Got nothing but blue sky behind the CD, so I won't even bother popping that out. And then on the booklet here, there are the four members of the band. We've got lyrics. We've got lyrics and more lyrics. There's even a nice shot of the band. There they are right there. Credits and things like that. So the band made up of Maiah Wynne on lead vocals, backing vocals, synths, and programming. She's kind of like the secret weapon in this band, right? And as you can see, she's got the look and everything, right? That's who they really need to be promoting here. Alfio Annibalini on guitar, slide guitar, keyboards, backing vocals. Andy Curran, bass guitar, 4 and 8 string and fretless bass, keyboards, guitar, backing vocals, and Alex Lifeson on lots of guitars, mandolin or mandola, oud, and other things. No actual drummer listed as, a full-time member of the band. However, we have some guests on here playing drums. You got David Quentin Steinberg, drums on a couple tracks. Ty Dennis, drums on a couple tracks. Joe Vitale, drums on a couple tracks. Randy Cook, drums on a couple tracks, right? So a bunch of drummers coming in, helping out here. Joe Vitale, most notably, it's kind of big name. He's been around the business for quite a long time, and it sounds like they have some programmed drums going on here as well in spots. So if you remember, I've reviewed their first album back when it came out, a year or so ago. I wasn't crazy about it. It's okay for what it was. I interviewed Alex here on the channel fairly recently, so I had a chance to listen to this album a few times before it came out in getting ready for my interview with Alex. And I will say I do like this more than the debut. I think that, even though much of this really isn't my cup of tea per se, I do think that a lot of people would really dig this just because it's not really what I normally listen to. I could totally see like mainstream potential in this album, specifically due to the nature of some of the songs on here, as well as, Maiah and her voice. I mean, I think she's got like star written all over her. So we've got 11 tracks on here. It starts off with Not Dead Yet, which is kind of got this kind of pulsing, intoxicating, spacey, modern rock feel. She's really got this kind of like dreamy vocal, ethereal vocal style going very well throughout this album, and it really works here. There's a lot of groove on this. Heavy guitars, but they're kind of in the background. This is not a guitar-oriented album at all, even though you got two players on here and you got Alex Lifeson on here. There's not like big guitars anywhere. It's more like textures and things and sounds and soundscapes and occasionally some cool lead guitars, right? But they're always kind of in the background. Cool track, though. The Story is up next. That's kind of a dreamy rocker. Nice melodies. I think Maiah's vocals are really well done. You got some big throbbing bass from Andy, Alex, and God, I forget the other guy's name already. Hold on. Alf and Alex and Alf, right? I'll have to remember that. They're going more for textures. A lot of synths. Nice guitar solo here. Total Alex Lifeson guitar solo. When he plays a solo, it's him immediately. It's pretty catchy. I could see a song like The Story catching on with mainstream audiences, who are not really into prog or metal or, anything that Alex was really associated with before this. Cool song. Under the Stars. Total groover of a track. Got more of those ethereal vocals from Maiah. Dreamy pop rock. That's kind of like a lot of what this album is. It just kind of floats along. Nice little underpinning of synths and guitars. A lot of these tracks on the surface, it doesn't seem like there's much going on, but, the songs kind of stick with you. They do have these kind of cool melodies and harmonies and things that are happening. And some of the arrangements are quite catchy, even though there's kind of like not a lot going on. It's got a memorable chorus, little tasty solo from Alex, using the whammy bar quite a bit. Good song. Thrill the Chase, more of an upbeat modern rock song. Got some crisper guitars and bass, busy drumming, catchy track. I kind of wish, though, Maiah would have done a little more kind of belting out with her vocals on a song like this rather than that kind of soft, breathy thing. She does that a lot throughout the album, and this song is a little bit more up-tempo and a little more rocking than a lot of the other pieces on here. But she doesn't really change up her vocal delivery at all. I think a little bit more forceful vocal style would have worked well on this. Handle with Care, this kind of drifts and meanders along. Reminds me of Radiohead. Not much of a fan. That Was Then. Got some cool bubbling synths all over the place. Nice bass grooves from Andy. More of those dreamy vocals, but this one kind of grabs you and pulls you in. It's got some serious groove. I like the little guitar bits that Alf and Alex are doing, though it's more like kind of like minimalistic. But they're cool. There's kind of like a techno pop electronic vibe here, which is not normally my thing, but I think it works here. And then you got like a bluesy guitar solo from Alex that has kind of like a David Gilmour type of vibe to it later in the song. Good track. Raindrops. Maiah's the star in this one, another dreamy, kind of floaty pop track. It's not bad, but there's really nothing much to get excited about it on either. New Trip, fine enough song. Again, it's kind of mellow. Maiah shines on the vocals. Overall, the arrangement is kind of pretty lush and just kind of moving along, but there's some interesting guitar textures. And I think sounds like a slide guitar solo. It's probably from Alf later in the track. Nicely done. Clouds. I like this one. A little bit more of a forceful vocal from Maiah, which I really like. I'd like to see her doing more of that. It's got a memorable chorus, good strong rock song, and then Alex throws in some kind of cool riffs and a killer solo later in the track. One of my favorites here. Clouds is good. The End. Another one, kind of dreamy, floating, drifting along, pop song. Musically, not much to see or hear here, but again, she just oozes charisma, and I think that's what it's all about. So, not a bad track. And then it ends with the title track, Stygian Waves, which is probably my favorite song on the album. Has this sort of kind of like gothic metal prog thing going on, not unlike classic The Gathering. That's kind of what I hear, if you remember Anneke van Giersbergen and The Gathering, great Dutch band. Big booming bass, drums, and synths. Maiah's soaring all over the place. Alex and Alf are doing these kind of cool Middle Eastern guitar passages, which I think really work. I wish there was more like this on the album. Really good track. So overall, again, a lot of this isn't really in my wheelhouse. But I totally get the artfulness or artsiness of it all. And I think there is like a much larger audience out there for something like this. And especially like younger listeners who, have no clue who Alex Lifeson and Andy Curran are, who could care less about, Coney Hatch and Rush. And I think they need to push this towards audiences who aren't familiar with stuff like that. So people like my age and older who, want to hear the next great thing from Alex Lifeson after Rush, this isn't quite it. This is a totally different beast. So I think this needs to be marketed to a completely different audience. And I think there's plenty on here that could catch on with that audience. I mean, let's be real. Maiah is the secret weapon here. And they need to really push her to the moon for this to succeed. Because I think, like I said, there is an audience out there. For me personally, I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5 star. Your mileage may vary. But again, it's not really 100% what I like and what I want to hear. But I think it's very well done. And I think there's a big audience out there for something like this if they really play their cards right. So when I talked to Alex, not all that long ago, he hopes that they can start doing some live shows and maybe, get on a decent tour with another, bigger act, and that's kind of what they need to do. So, yeah, that's my review of Stygian Waves from Envy of None. If you've heard it, let us know what you think down in the comments below. See if they still have the Bandcamp page going, because what I'll do is I'll put the link down below so you guys can check it out. Let us know what you think. Like I said, as long as you temper your expectations, this is not the second coming of Rush or Coney Hatch. This is a totally different beast, and you may like it, you may love it, you may not, right? But give it a shot. Thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, I got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options, all down below. Thanks in advance for all your support, folks. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.